goodness, y'all. This was like such a treat for me. I was instantly taken back to a few years ago when we used to have our coaching calls and my dear friend and client, Lindsay. I'm going to let you introduce yourself, but first, let me tell the people what we're doing. Y'all, this is the How She Did It live series. And this, I just wanted to bring to you all of the wonderful people that I've met over the years who are doing some incredible, unique, interesting things in their business apart from healthcare. And each and every incredible woman that I brought to this platform has a background in healthcare, and she also decided to step out and do her own thing. And so today we have a friend and legacy client, Lindsay Olson, like the Olsen twins, and we may be photobombed by her kitty cat at some point. But Lindsay, please tell the people what you did in the healthcare world, what you did or do. I don't know if you still do it now, and what you do outside of healthcare.
Yeah. So, hi, everybody. I'm Lindsay. Thank you for being here. Appreciate you listening if you're listening later on. So, I was a licensed physical therapist assistant, and I had previously been working in transitional care, long-term care. And couple years ago now, like about 2 years ago, I was getting the itch that it wasn't quite the fit that I was hoping it was going to be. It kind of felt like I had hit almost like a dead end feeling. And I had been dancing and pole dancing for like several years, and that it's just something that I never could like remove from my life. I had always been an instructor, enjoyed doing it myself. And so a couple years ago, I decided to kind of send it into doing more one-on-one client work, teaching more often at the studio. And recently, within the last year, allowing myself or learning how to become more receptive to accepting other opportunities outside of teaching, if that makes sense. And we can elaborate on that more. So yeah, that's where I'm at now.
Well, I mean, I think that's a perfect like segue into, you said like a year ago you started being open to more opportunities. And I'm curious because like we worked together really a lot on mindset way back in 2020. And so then at least I remember there being like, it was so interesting to watch you and your process, your internal process, right? Because being in the group with all of these other women in healthcare who were doing, we had someone who was like refurbishing furniture and people doing coaching and all of these things. And you were, at least my memory of it was like you were kind of mad that family and society had told you that this was the safe way to go and find you a good career and a good job and make the steady paycheck, but your heart was calling you to dance. And so I mean, I guess the question that I have for you is like, how did you make that transition from, okay, all your life you've been told to have the good job, the steady paycheck, all of that thing, but your heart, like dance doesn't pay the bills, and then starting to realize, wait a minute, dance maybe could pay the bills.
Yeah, I mean, it started to, and it continues to feel like it's coming from like a place deep inside me of like this combination of, this feeling of like there has to be more, or like it almost becomes like a feeling of frustration, or why does this keep coming up for me? And the mindset piece is still very much a work in progress. Like I have to be very transparent, otherwise I feel that is still one of my largest barriers, and I believe it might be the largest barrier. Because I still remember a conversation you and I had, I think it was before we even started the coaching program. I said something about like, I wanted to be a professional dancer. And you said, do you get paid to do what you do? And I said, yes. And Savannah said, you're a professional, just letting you know. And I still remember where I was sitting. I still remember what I was doing when you said that, because I was like living in what I had formed as the box of what I thought a professional dancer was. And I mean, even some years later, I'm like fighting up that often. But what has been coming up for me is that, like, as soon as I kind of said, I want more opportunities, I said it to a friend, I said it to myself. The Snoop Dogg thing happened. Over the last year, there have been some very like interesting coincidences, I guess you could say, of like things coming up that I wasn't necessarily seeking out. And so now I'm being shown that there is definitely space, and there are already people doing it, living what I want to do without having gone through maybe as much dance training or whatever that might be, because I'm now realizing that that's great and that's helped build my abilities, but now it's time to step into what is actually out there.
What do you foresee as when you say actually out there? What does that mean?
Oh, I mean, I guess there's just like, please excuse me. There are just more opportunities out there than I realized for like performers and people who dance, like to entertain in realms that I never really like would have thought. It's very like, let's say the Snoop Dogg thing, that's great because every show they're hiring dancers.
Well, tell the people what the Snoop Dogg thing is, because I know, but they don't know. But I got to say my little part about me knowing about Snoop Dogg. I try to keep up with the people who I've worked with, because I don't work with very many people, and I just love y'all, and I just want to know how you're doing beyond the container. And so I check on y'all from time to time. And I was perusing the Instagrams, because that's where Lindsay hangs out and does all her dancing and stuff. And I'm like, girl, I'm gonna be like you when I grow up. But I happened to see her on the stage upside down, and Snoop was in front of her, and I was like, oh my, and I tell you, and I might cry right now, but like I welled up with tears when I saw that picture, because I was like,
yeah.
She and I didn't say that I wasn't gonna do this. I didn't promise you that. But I'm like, it was like when we first met, like when I talk to y'all in these consultations and I hear your dream, I can see it. I can see it for you. And it was like, it was just that we had to help you see it for you. And then it could be realized. And I think that's one of the biggest challenges for those of us who have worked in the healthcare career, is because it's like everything's already laid out for us. The path is already laid out. If you want to get this certification or this license, you know exactly what you need to do to get there. And it's not like that in business. And we have to take risks, and we have to take chances on ourselves, and we have to do some pretty vulnerable things and risk rejection. So I've told you this before, and I'm telling you this publicly. I'm so freaking proud of you. I'm so happy that you kept at it, and that you got past that part of being upset with the people that put you in the box. Lovingly, guidingly so, but they put you over there and you got out of that bad boy. And so, how did you get on stage with Snoop?
I mean, first I have to acknowledge that Oh, Tamara, that like I can feel you. I know we're virtual right now, but I can feel you, and I appreciate that energy so much. Thank you. And you know, I'm going to just I had like it was luck, I swear, because I have some friends local who got the opportunity to dance at Sturgis, the motorcycle rally, with him like a year or two prior. I don't remember what year it was. Um, the opportunity then arose through a friend that they were looking for dancers again in some other Midwest states. And it just kind of came together where, you know, a couple of my, like, the group of us that got to dance together, it's great. We're all like instructors in Minneapolis and really good friends. And it was luck. I'm just grateful that I was friends with those people, that I had that connection, truthfully. But the thing that made me feel, I guess, capable was the fact that I had been pole dancing for many years at that point. And so if at least my confidence of like I didn't deserve it, because in some ways I feel like I didn't or don't, but like at least I could walk on stage and know that I could perform and do what they were asking us to do and be professional. And so, you know, it was just one of those crazy synchronicities of like I had told my friend Abby, like, I want to perform more. And she was the one who became the connection point between the other friend who was able to like solidify for us. So yeah, my gratitude to Abby, Emma, and Lindsay. It's immense.
I appreciate you highlighting that, Lindsay, because we've been talking about, and I think I'm going to put a post in the group about the art of relationships. And you're highlighting something that many people don't really realize is why they're so successful is the relationships that they have and the company that they keep. And, you know, so and so introduced me to so and so, and then a year later or 2 years later, we did XYZ. And, you know, we just don't put those dots together. And so I think, yes, synchronicity. I think, yes, you being open to the opportunities and telling people what you want, because we can't, those of us who consider ourselves to be connectors, we can't help you if we don't know what you're trying to do. So I think kudos to you for speaking up.
Yeah.
I guess one question I have is like, what is
that was even very recently that I don't gotten here so far. Again, it seemed like it came out of the blue. Nobody that had, you know, somebody who didn't necessarily have a direct connection to myself or anybody close to me, but they reached out. And now it's turning into, you had mentioned like what else is out there. That was one of the ways I started to realize what else is out there. And so it's happening this, I mean, it's still very much in the beginning stages. Like I'm in the messy middle, everybody. I have by no means made it in any way, but it's getting
it's getting
there.
No,
you know, it's getting clearer.
You know, I don't let us talk. You know, I don't let us talk like that.
I was gonna say, coach the shit out of me right now for saying
no. Because it's like stages to making it, right? This is like you made it to one stage and now you're getting ready to make it to a next stage. Yeah. I mean, I think the reason why I'm so adamant about like stop, pause, don't do that to yourself is when we applaud every little step, it becomes easier to take the next step. you know?
Yeah, it's true. And
So
celebrating myself has always been a tough thing for me. So pausing and recognizing
that you're a badass, yeah, I would have been like, yep, that's me right there next to Snoop all day. Like, whatever. Like that's
Oh,
me getting paid to work with clients. That's me not having to put on these daggone scrubs anymore. Yep, that's me. I'm that chick.
yeah, slight costume change from Scrubs. If you've seen that picture.
That's like so. In addition to the mindset, what would you say is the biggest thing that you've had to overcome?
I mean, I guess it definitely ties into the mindset. But I mean, ever since I've been like teenage years or earlier, I've always struggled with depression. And I'll be forthcoming that within the last couple of years is probably one of the like more prominent depressive episodes I've had. And so pair that with a mindset that isn't always conducive to your goals. There have been some pretty rough times within the last couple of years. And relating to the relationships again, I have friends in my corner that want good for me, and they have shown up for me in ways that I don't think I could have ever imagined a friend showing up for me before. So having that support system has been great. But then also, related to that, beginning to notice, like, am I avoiding things if it's starting to come up really strongly? The negative feelings or the, onset of the depressive episode of like, what am I avoiding or what am I denying of in me? Like, because one of the things I'm kind of acknowledging right now is that fleeting feeling of you can almost imagine or see the ideal self or like who you wish to be. And for a brief moment, maybe you think you could do or can achieve what it is to be her. But then like, it's like the crabs in a bucket. It just like starts pulling you back in. And so being able to recognize that has been a step. I don't think I'm quite there of doing what I know I should do in that moment, but acknowledging is becoming the tool that I'm trying to latch onto right now.
Again, baby steps, my friend. Awareness, acknowledgement is everything because otherwise you'd be completely unconscious of it happening.
Yeah.
So glad that you use that as a tool for yourself. I guess the last question I have for you is like, what do you know now that you wish you knew back then?
Back then, as in how long ago?
Oh, whew, okay. Let's say before 2020.
Okay. I guess what's coming up is that just because it feels like you don't fit into a space doesn't mean that there's not room for you in something that's adjacent to that space, especially relating to dance or performing. There's always been like, I've always felt this almost mismatch. And not really knowing like what I wanted, like why it didn't feel like I had found exactly the niche, even though I like have pole danced for so many years or kept dancing, I guess. Because most people, I feel like, especially in adulthood, we just go, oh, well, I didn't go pro. I didn't join a company. So I'm just going to not do this anymore. But there's always been like this voice in me of like, I can't stop this. I can't ever stop. And this feeling of never belonging fully is probably because it's out there and maybe I have to make it. Sorry, I'm starting to tear up again because I looked at the clock and it's 2:22. Yeah, and that's really scary because I've never been one. I've always looked for somebody to find me or discover me or believe in me, thinking that I had to rely on other people to give me the steps or permission to proceed with what I think my goal or dream is. And that's not true. It's hard to believe it's not true sometimes, but it's not true. Yeah. So I wish, I can't change anything and I'm going to be grateful, and I am grateful for the path and the story thus far. But, I wish younger her knew that I didn't have to wait for somebody to create my space. I can create it. Yeah.
That is good. Like mic drop right there. Like I really think at the crux of it, that's it for all of us. Like that success comes from what you just shared with us. So thank you so much, Lindsay. Sending you the biggest virtual hug.
Yeah, back at
So
you.
thank you. Tell the people how they can follow you, connect with you, learn from you, because you do virtual classes too. Or
yeah. Well, it's a little, it's kind of funny. It's a little bit in limbo right now, if I'm being truthful. So yeah, my Instagram is at GetLitzy. And there's a funny name behind that nickname or that username that I can just tell later. But like, Instagram's the easiest way. Currently, I teach locally in Minneapolis, but I also am available for one-on-one or small group virtual if anybody had any interest in that. And I kind of needed to take a step back from what my original coaching plan was because there was something that wasn't aligning for me. And when that starts coming back through, I'll be sure to share. Okay. And I guess related to the last thing I said that came up for me was one of the things I've been being told from information that I'm taking in is that you might not know right now how you're going to create that space for yourself. And you cannot put yourself back in a box to think that it's supposed to happen a certain way. It really has resonated with me hearing people say that you have to let the universe or whoever you believe in give you these opportunities or provide them. You just do the steps that you can see, but you can't say it has to be this way because it's probably not going to be that way.
At all.
You release it.
And that's the hard part. Mm-hmm. Thank you, Lindsay. Thank you for coming on. Thank you for sharing your story. I miss seeing you like this. Y'all, it's been such a pleasure. Y'all, I think we have one more episode in the How She Did It series. So please join us next week. We are starting at 3:30 p.m. Eastern, US and Canada times. Have a great rest of your week.
Bye, everybody.